You're listening to the Esoterics Podcast.
Hey everybody, this is Joe.
And this is Fioraliz. Welcome back to the Esoterics Podcast.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm excellent, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I see that you're sitting in your beautiful finished home. Is it finished? Do you have still work to do on it?
I have like little things to do, but nothing major except for maybe outside. But yeah, I'm not gardening in 100 and plus degree weather right now, so it's gonna have to wait.
Are you a gardener? Do you like to garden?
I'm gonna have to like gardening now. No, I do. No. I like it to an extent. I think I do better with outside stuff. Like I'm not good with indoor plants. Indoor plants and meat aren't. They don't make it.
Well, for your outdoor, you should call in friend of the pod, Ashley. Have her come in and do all of your gardening. She can come once a week.
I am going to ask her about, because I do want to do a butterfly-friendly garden.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one of our friends planted a few, not a lot, just a few milkweed plants, and he's been getting monarchs. So, yeah. So,
that's so cool.
If I can contribute to the growth of the monarch population, I am here for that.
You know, and what I found a lot of times, like here on the West Coast, or just here in Portland, I don't know, maybe this is all along the West Coast, but people especially like to have natural lawns here. You know, they don't have manicured lawns. They have whatever the hell they want growing, and it helps the the ecosystem and all that stuff. And it's really pretty when it's done right, because you can have like a quote unquote overgrown lawn that's really well manicured, that sort of thing. And it looks so pretty.
Yeah, it's the decolonization of our gardens, essentially.
Yeah. It is.
Because grass has no fucking business on this land, on our land, especially on the West Coast. Like in California, we're either coastal or desert. There's some like foresty areas or whatever, but you don't put grass in the desert, and that shit pisses me off every time I go to Palm Springs and I see those golf courses and shit. I'm just like, this is
okay. So where did grass come from? Was it brought over from? Okay, so
it was brought over from Europeans. The history of grass. I mean, we could probably do a whole episode just on the history of grass.
I kind of want to.
But think of like English gardens, right? And how they have those like the topiaries, and it's all green grass lawns and stuff. But that's because that's what grows in that environment. And how much water they get just naturally. It makes sense. Like have that there because the ecosystem supports it. But with us and how dry we are, that grass needs a lot of water. And it's really for the sake of just looking green. Like it doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't feed into like the bees don't go in grass. Like they don't, it doesn't help them at all. So I do definitely want to remove the grass that's on this house, especially in the front. Like absolutely I don't want it to be completely done with it. I've seen a few people on TikTok that promote the use of clover as a lawn alternative. And it's really, it seems really neat, really interesting. So
do you have to mow it?
You don't have to if you don't want to. You can.
Not clover?
Yeah, you can if you want to. They just use like a hand mower, but it doesn't need to if you don't want to. So no.
It's interesting for me because I think that a well manicured lawn is so lovely. It's lovely and it's clean, and it's it makes me feel happy and safe. I don't know why, because I don't like to step in dog poop or anything. Like I don't like weird stuff.
Right.
I won't do it. But there's a house here that I drive past all the time when I go to the studio or to the shop, and This house has no lawn. It's on the corner. It's in an urban neighborhood,
Yeah.
and it has no grass. But every single aspect of that yard is beautiful and clean and landscaped with rocks and bricks and shrubs. It's the coolest lawn. So I don't guess I don't really care as long as it's clean looking, neat looking, I guess. But again, even a yard of wildflowers can be clean and neat looking if it's done well.
Yep. Yeah. Most of it just comes down to not letting it get super overgrown. Let it grow to its natural, full size, and then trim off dead ends. Just doing things like that, trimming off like the old blooms and doing that allows for the new blooms to come in, but it just looks better too. It just looks clean.
It looks better.
So there is always maintenance involved, but if you do it right and you don't do too much, it can be a nice addition into your local ecosystem without taking, every weekend away from you to have to go take care of it.
Yeah. Yes, I love that. Okay, yeah, good topic. Fun topic.
Yeah.
And yeah, we should definitely do a podcast on it.
A podcast on grass.
A podcast on grass. Well, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, just we could just talk about just like the decolonizing of just plants, and certain plants.
Plants.
Because it is interesting.
Plants and gardens. Mm-hmm. Very, very. Will be an episode of Ologies, giving a shout out to a podcast that doesn't need any shout outs, right? Ologies is one of the biggest in the world. Mm-hmm. All right. Do you have any announcements? What's going on in your world?
Oh, I don't have any current announcements. My shadow work courses are still up on my website, available for digital download if someone's interested in looking into doing their own shadow work and getting started somewhere. You can start with the 101 class. It's a good starting point, but if you've already been doing it for a time, I recommend the 102 or the 103. It's always just good to get another perspective on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything in your professional arena that you want to get into or talk about or
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I did recently go to a class. This was for those interested in, for people interested in becoming facilitators of plant medicines. So it was a really nice group because a lot of the people there have been on some kind of journey for a while. So there wasn't a lot of like new people with a lot of new questions. So what I felt that was really helpful with was because people bring in their own backgrounds and such neat information regarding, whatever it is that they've been learning. Like one of them is in school to be a somatic therapist, so that she can legally administer psilocybin. And so I was just talking to two different people. So that was a really cool class. We didn't partake in any psychedelics. It was just about holding space for one another and then getting to ask some questions that you maybe don't normally feel like it's appropriate to ask. Maybe when you're with another practitioner and you're with a group, actually taking medicine, doesn't always feel appropriate to like ask a bunch of questions in the middle of it. So this was a really good time to do that. So we did get to talk to someone, though. She shared a lot of really neat information about cannabis with us. One of my main takeaways from it was that because here in California, we're allowed to own, I believe it's 4 plants or 6 plants. I think it's up to 6 plants per household, to take advantage of that. And, but not just for like the flower itself, but how much medicine is in the leaves and the stems of the plant, and to use the entire plant. She shared a lot of really neat information that I am interested in digging into a little bit deeper. I thought it was a great class. And so that's what I've been doing. So, and then I'm still doing the curanderismo mentorship with Erica Buenaflor. So yeah, between those two things, getting some like hands-on stuff and just like being part of like a community and getting to talk and answer questions has been really neat.
That is really cool. And it's cool to see you lay the foundations for this thing that's going to, sort of be birthed from you, in the future.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this in one of your readings, just this thing that you're meant to share with the world in this big way. And right now to see you do like all of the little baby steps, it's really, really cool. They're not even really baby steps. They're just, you're building your foundation.
Yeah. Because my big thing is whatever I do, I just want to do it with a lot of integrity, and that I have the right tools in my toolbox in order to properly be able to help people. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm just trying to, make those tools, create those tools and all that.
Yeah.
So how about you?
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Life is really, really crazy right now, but in such a good way. I have a lot going on. So I'm offering live readings here in Portland at Psychic Sister. I don't know, a couple times a weekend or a couple times a month. And so, if anybody is interested in booking one, just go to psychic-sister.com and then you can click on the readers and you'll see all the beautiful faces offering readings. And then, of course, you can also always book with me virtually from my website. I'm having this new sort of love affair with readings. And sometimes I go through these phases, right? Where I'm like, I don't really want to do readings. It's the same old, same old.
Yeah.
And then other times I love doing them. And it's like, who do I get to read today? So, of course, now I'm in that upswing. But then there's also this new sort of role with Psychic Sister. I've taken a job as the psychic talent facilitator for them, and we're currently looking for psychics, mediums, tarot readers, intuitive healers to join our reader roster. So it's been really fun getting interviewing psychics, getting all of their resumes, having them come in, seeing, are they ready, are they right to be a reader, or is it more of a collaborative opportunity? And just the intuitives I'm being exposed to, it's so cool. Like today I reached out to somebody who just received their certification as a doula, like a midwife doula, but also end of life doula.
Wow!
So that's really cool. I know we did a podcast on that. We called it, death doula, right? But anyway, so if you're local to Portland and you're an experienced tarot reader, intuitive reader, or somebody who is, please connect with me at the email. I'll provide that in the show notes, and I'll start the process of vetting and interviewing. It's a really good opportunity. It's one of those opportunities where people read about it and they're like, I don't know, it sounds kind of really shady. It literally, it is the biggest opportunity because Psychic Sister is really well known, really well established, and if you're a reader there, it's not an easy gig to get. So we're being really discerning about who can, and it's kind of cool. So
that's awesome.
I know, how did I get this fucking job? I mean, you were with me the whole time. I was bitching about, my corporate job or my 8 to 5. And I'm like, why did I do this? I don't like this. And then once I left and I just made the decision, I'm quitting. Within 2 days, this butte fell in my lap and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's trusting the universe.
Trusting the universe. That the universe knows better. So, because I'm also working for them, curating their class roster. And that's going to drop soon. So, I get to put together some really cool classes. Events, workshops, all those things. So, I couldn't have made this up.
Very cool.
So I'm excited. Let's see. I have another big announcement, but I don't know if I'm ready to talk about it yet because I haven't had my first.
Are you teasing? Are you teasing something upcoming?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I told you about this. Yeah, but I'm not ready yet. But once I do, it's probably one of the biggest announcements I've made in a very long time. Right. So I'm going to tease all y'all, and I'll announce it sometime in September.
All right. Okay, all right. What are we talking about today, Joe?
This week, we are going to talk about the ancient myths and legends of some of our favorite crystals. I was doing some research for a commissioned intuitive design that I was doing for one of my clients, doing the research on this crystal, and I found all these references to, how they were used anciently, and I just thought that was really cool. And then I went down a rabbit hole, and then that's typically how a podcast episode is birthed.
Right.
Our rabbit holes.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, you ready? Let's do this. Okay, amethyst. Okay, so the most popular mythology surrounding amethyst is from ancient Greece. This is a really cool story. So Dionysus, who was the god of wine. I mean, seriously, like, I really want to be a god of wine. I want to be a goddess of wine. He was the god of wine, celebration, intoxication, and joviality. All right, so he was insulted by this mortal who would refuse to acknowledge him. I mean, that's very narcissistic of him. So he was enraged, right? He's like, I vow to unleash. He unleashed his fury upon all the mortals who didn't partake in his gift of wine and drunkenness. I like this too. All right. Well, then he spotted this young maiden named Amethyst, who was on her way to pay homage to the goddess Diana. So basically, he detained her, and it says he summoned 2 fiercely voracious tigers to devour her as he sat back with his wine to watch. Because he was pissed at other people, so he decided to attack her.
He's kind of a dick.
I don't like him. I know, back and forth. I go back and forth with him. All right. But Diana, when she saw this, she was like, whoa, no. So she transformed the young woman into a glimmering stone of white quartz to protect her. And so when Dionysus realized the ruthlessness of his actions, he began to weep with sorrow. He spilled his wine, and that wine was absorbed by the stone, creating amethyst.
Oh, that's a neat story. Except for the part of Dionysus being a dick.
Right? This is what is so cool about ancient myths and legends. On one hand, they're kind of cool, and it's like, oh, that's cool. On the other hand, you're like, my God, the gods were dicks.
Yeah. It feels like most stories are like a god who is scorned and then enacts his revenge on humans.
Mm-hmm. Right. Ugh, it just sound like anybody, we know today. I don't know, Washington, all the people in Washington. All right, so throughout history, amethyst has been thought of as preventing drunkenness and overindulgence, which is kind of cool. That's how it ties back to Dionysus. Ancient Greeks and Romans, they routinely studded their goblets with amethyst, believing that the wine that they drink from them wouldn't lead them to intoxication. Well, I mean, and for me, if I'm not going to get intoxicated or, a little bit buzzy, I'm not going to drink it. I mean, they also believe that an amethyst worn on the body, especially at the navel, had a sobering effect for, just everything, overzealousness, passion, that sort of thing. Catholic bishops wore amethyst on a ring to protect them from mystical intoxication. I'm not really sure what that is, but, that's sort of how it started. The tradition of kissing the ring, it kept others from similar mystical intoxication and kept them in spiritual thought.
Huh.
Yeah, right? Because don't the popes have people kiss their rings?
I thought that was a Godfather thing. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. It's not a Catholic thing?
Maybe it is. I know my parents, their godson, used to do the kissing of the hand thing, and I remember the kissing of the ring. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Pope that does it. I don't know. It seems weird.
Yeah, I think it's ancient. It's weird. It's so weird. In the spiritual world, an amethyst crystal is thought of to providing a connection to the divine, which it actually is really, really good for connecting to your intuition during meditation, that sort of thing. So, yeah. All right, so here's some other things that amethyst is thought of. Some historical amethyst healing reports include its ability to control evil thoughts, increase intelligence, and render men shrewd in business matters. You know what? Why just men? I mean, is that just the way that it was,
because of how it was created?
Typed up? But there are a lot of gender nonsensical elements in
sure,
ancient
because
myths.
it's old, and they just they're referred to everyone as man or men. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I call them out here in this because it's like, well, in teaching, talking about and encouraging, contemporary or modern spirituality, we always have to look at all of these gender roles and smash them and say that's not how it's done anymore. Let's see, what else did they do? For travelers, it was worn as protection against treachery and surprise attacks. It kept soldiers from harm and gave them victory over their enemies. It lent assistance to hunters in the capture of wild beasts and fowl. That's funny. Beasts, cow and chickens. It was also considered to be a powerful psychic stone of protection against witchcraft and black magic. And so it basically was protecting the wearer from disease and infection.
Okay.
In Eastern cultures, it was listed in descriptions of sacred gem cities, the Tree of Life, and it was used in temple offerings for worship. Here's a cool thing. It was also often used to align planetary and astrological influences. And additionally, it was popular with rosaries and prayer beads and credited with creating an atmosphere of pious calm, mental peace, and quietude. So, it is a lovely stone. It really is. I don't have a ton of amethyst. I'm just not a fan of purple, but I love to work with it. All right, amber is the next one. Amber is unique from other crystals because it's made from tree resin that is fossilized over the course of millions of years. So any amber that you see, it's between 30 to 90 million freaking years old. That's crazy.
Wow.
I know, that's old, right? 30 to 90 million
just the
years
thought
old.
that you get to wear that, it's pretty, that in itself is pretty incredible. Yeah. That reminds me when we got, I bought a couple pieces of petrified wood when we were in Arizona and New Mexico. And those are 243 million years old. And it's like the fact that we get to hold something that's that old in our hands is pretty amazing.
Isn't that amazing? It really is. I mean, it takes a long time for a tree to petrify, but all of the crystals. I mean, crystals that we take for granted. We go into this fancy metaphysical stone, we buy them. They're millions of years old because they were created, at the Earth's core. So, one legend in Lithuania believed amber came from the tears of a sea goddess who mourned the loss of her beloved. The ancient Greeks believed amber was formed after a tragedy. So when Zeus threw a bolt of lightning at Pathon, I'm not sure that's how you say it, so I'm going to slander a lot of words in this today, so bear with me. Pathon. Anyway, he threw a bolt of lightning at this dude in his flaming chariot, and then Pathon, that's what we're going with, was swallowed by flames and he died. Okay, so but when his body was found by his mother, the tears fell into the river and hardened into amber.
That's sad.
It's sad, but honestly, I don't see the connection. That doesn't make any sense. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't resonate at all. Have you seen Thor yet? Have you seen the new Thor yet?
No, tell me it's good.
It's good. It's
okay, good.
And Zeus is in it, and that's the only reason why I asked. Yeah.
Yes, I love a stupid adventure. I love all of them.
Chris Hemsworth graces you with his entire backside.
Yeah, so. Nice, because he's real pretty. Real pretty.
That's all there. So, it's waiting.
Good. My favorite crystal, my second favorite crystal, one of my top 5 favorite crystals, I'll just say, is obsidian. Okay, so obsidian is volcanic glass that has been converted in history. It's been converted into mirrors, daggers, swords, plates, ornaments with deep symbolism in the Mesoamerican cultures, which I thought was really cool. Yep. What do you know about it? Tell me.
So they also made needles out of it.
Needles.
And surgical blades. It's actually how in ancient Mesoamerican, the shamans would be the ones who would do surgery on people, and it actually it cuts so well that it doesn't jag the skin.
Yes, it's a very smooth cut. Yes. If I'm not mistaken, and I didn't read this in any of my research, I actually have heard this before, that certain modern day surgical instruments are made of obsidian or something like that. I read something along those lines.
I believe it.
So obsidian, it has been used, and this is a long one, guys, because of course I love obsidian, so there was all sorts of things. It has been used as an amulet of protection, when accompanied by burning incense. Obsidian is believed to grant the gift of prophecy, which is probably another reason why it's used so predominantly throughout shamanistic practices and cultures. It has been alleged that whoever wears obsidian will never have nightmares. I don't know, Nice, good thoughts. In Native American teachings, black obsidian is considered a stone for spiritual dreaming and initiation, which sort of, goes hand in hand with the not having nightmares.
Yeah.
In the Aztec world, the nocturnal sky god, here's another name, it's Tezcatlipoca. Tezcatlipoca, thank you.
You got it.
He carved obsidian for weapons and tools. It was also highly polished into mirrors for shamanic rituals and prophecy. I mentioned that earlier. Tezcatlipoca means smoking mirror, and he was said to see all that happened in the world and the heavens through his obsidian mirror.
Yeah.
So it's been made into mirrors a lot.
Yes.
One of the most famous obsidian mirrors was a small handheld mirror that was brought to Europe. Okay, it was stolen from
right.
Can we? Yeah. After the conquest of Mexico, it was stolen. I'm gonna keep saying that, by Dr. John Dee, a 16th century astronomer, astrologer, occult philosopher, and advisor to Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth. He actually had a really cool job, and I think he was a good guy, because we'll talk about him a little bit more, but he still stole shit that wasn't his.
Yeah.
He brought that to use in his magical pursuits. He would call upon spirits using this obsidian mirror, and he claimed that it had been presented to him by the archangel Uriel. I don't think Uriel has the credentials to bestow an ancient artifact to this white dude.
To this white guy. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. You know what? Don't even try it with your bullshit. We see right through it.
Look, doctor.
He spent the last 30 years of his life attempting to commune with angels in order to learn the universal language of creation and bring about the unity of mankind. So he had a really powerful life purpose, life path. And honestly, the worst thing based on this that he did was steal some shit that wasn't his, right? But, that's one of the most famous. The Aztecs made a balm for healing scars that contained obsidian powder. And they believed that substance, when they used that on their weapons, they believed that the substance that was also made of their weapons could heal those wounds that they created. So according to various secret recipes that were guarded by sorcerers and local healers, the obsidian powder was mixed with rabbit and chamomile grease. This practice was found in the north of France and in Belgium, and though there was no contact between the Aztecs in these two areas. So again, we're getting into different cultures and in parts of the country, having similar practices that, they didn't know each other.
Communicate, yeah.
Yeah. The legend of the Apache Tears claims the earth cried whenever an Apache warrior was killed in battle. And the women of the lost warriors were said to have wept for a month, and their sorrow was so sincere, the Great Spirit pressed their tears into small black stones that, when held up to the light, reveals the tears of the Apache. Have you ever seen an Apache tear stone or gemstone or crystal?
No, I don't think so.
I haven't either.
No.
If I have, I don't know.
The only one I have the looking glass one. So you hold it up to your eye and you can look out at the eclipse with it. Like it's safe to look at
Oh,
the
cool.
eclipse with the obsidian.
Oh, that's very cool. Well, I know that there are Apache tears gemstones out there.
Yes.
Crystals, that sort of thing. I've never seen one or researched one or anything like that. So it's something maybe I'll do. Apache tears are believed to bring good luck, and whoever owns one will never have to cry again, for the Apache women shed their tears in place of ours. Apache tears are also reputed to expel the venom of snake bites.
Huh.
So I think that's really beautiful that Apache women shed their tears in place of ours. You don't need to take on the woes of the world, Apache women. We set you free.
That's beautiful.
All right, so let's see here. There's a couple more. In the Hawaiian Islands, a type of obsidian called Pele's hair occurs as thin strands of volcanic glass fibers that are stretched by the winds, and they resemble human hair. And so it's named after the Polynesian volcano goddess Pele, who is believed to live in the crater of the Kilauea volcano on the island of Hawaii. The ancient Polynesian culture believed Pele kept the souls. Oh my God, I love this. Pele kept the souls of the dead in her underworld realm and sent them back to Earth along with her lava to be reincarnated. This phenomenon occurs in other parts of the world near lava flows. In Iceland, it's called witch's hair. So they're speaking of those thin strands of volcanic glass, right? But I just love that how the myth around is that Pele is keeping the souls of the dead in her underworld realm. Like, to do what, right? Maybe she's keeping. It says to be reincarnated.
So she collects,
nurturing them. All right. And then the last little blurb is that rainbow obsidian appears as ordinary obsidian until you hold it in the light. I have a piece of rainbow obsidian and it is gorgeous. Yeah. Then once you hold it to the light, it reveals this beautiful multicolored iridescence. And it's in like these sort of circles like trees are.
The swirls. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, it's not like labradorite where it's just sort of these flashes. It's like it's so beautiful. Now, according to myth, rainbow obsidian can be found after the sky turns black with rain and the rainbow appears when the rain clears away. I thought that was beautiful.
That's cool.
Okay, next one. Let's talk a little bit about moonstone. Moonstone, I would have to say, is probably my absolute all-time favorite crystal. Moonstone and obsidian, my two favorites. All right, so the ancient Romans believed that moonstone actually captured the rays of the moon itself. So they believed that it was actual moon, a stone made of actual moon. It's also associated in both the Greek and Latin cultures with female lunar deities, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. It's a deeply feminine stone, and it's been used for communicating with the gods and as a companion in divinatory rites, which it's one of my favorite stones to meditate with just because of that beautiful, soothing, it just feels like you're holding, for me anyway, it feels like I'm holding, spirit in my hand. The Romans believed moonstone contained the image of Diana, the moon goddess, who could bestow love, wealth, victory, and wisdom upon the possessor. Other legends believed it contained the gifts of prophecy and second sight, claiming moonstone could clear the mind and allow the wearer to reach wise decisions and keep the heart and mind in touch with each other, basically connected, mind, body, that sort of thing. In ancient lore, moonstone was considered to be a talisman of winter, and in Oriental culture was considered to bring good fortune to the wearer. Is Oriental culture a politically correct term?
I don't think so.
Or it would Oriental.
It would be Asian. You know what I mean? It would be like Asian culture, and then you'd have to get more specific as to like at least give it a country.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Right. I think so too. I left that in because I wanted to specifically pose that question, but I thought, well, that doesn't sound like it's it's like when people say, "Oh, do you speak Mexican?" What is that? I don't know what that is. No. That is The language of Mexican is one word, motherfucker. That's it. Oh, you speak Mexican, do you? Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's my head response.
Right. Oh my god, I love it. Okay. Let's see, Diana. Again, I love Diana. She's a badass goddess. And Hanwi, the Sioux moon goddess. So Diana is the goddess of the Greek goddess of the moon, and Hanwi is a Sioux goddess of the moon. They are both associated with moonstone, and throughout history, moonstone has been considered a stone of new beginnings and has been carried as protection on the seas. I love that idea of new beginnings, but so is obsidian. So again, I think maybe that's one of my favorite themes. When you use moonstone to observe wedding anniversaries, it's considered the gift of choice on the 13th year, and for succeeding multiples of 13, which is believed to counteract the quote-unquote evil influence of the number. Why is this? We have to talk about this 13 because, I mean, I know there's history behind it, but 1 and 3 equals 4, and 4 is stability and structure.
It doesn't make any sense. No, we talked about it a little bit when we were doing the secret societies. It was the day on when the Knights of the Knights Templar, when they were all murdered. That happened on a Friday the 13th, and that was the origin of Friday the 13th being a day of bad luck. And then
it's unlucky.
and then 13 just got a bad rap because of that. But that's where that supposedly comes from. But there's also various origin stories for 13. So yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, I like it. Good. Let's see. As a sacred stone of India, and so as a jewelry designer, I buy certain stones. I try not to buy them from overseas because it takes so damn long and they get stuck in customs. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I do have one seller in India, and I love his moonstone. It is gorgeous, and he always sends like the best stones. So if you ever purchase a piece of jewelry made of moonstone from me, that's where I got it, and it's beautiful. So as a sacred stone of India, it has been set in the forehead of the god of the moon. I don't know who that god is, though, because every culture has
everyone
their
calls
own god.
it something different.
Yeah, which is like, why your god is not the only god. Don't get me started.
We can respect that everyone has a different god for the moon. That's fine.
Yes, let's do it. Let's respect it. Let's just accept it and respect it. So the reason that it's so sacred, and it's partly from its color and partly from the influence of the god that it represented. And this one was the god of the moon, and it grew and lessened in luster with the waxing and waning of the moon gaining its name, which actually makes sense because that I just did a post on the Akashic studio page about the difference between legit moonstone and white labradorite. So labradorite has labradorescence, and moonstone has what's called auralescence. And so when that auralescence, when the stone is moved, it absolutely, the waxing or the waning, or the position of the sun or the moon in the sky can absolutely impact the flash of that thing. So let's see. In India, moonstone is believed to bring good fortune and is never displayed for sale except on a yellow cloth, because yellow is an especially sacred color. I thought that was cool. It has a special significance for lovers. It is believed to arouse tender passion and allowing them the power to read the future or like what is in store for them. Okay. But there's a catch. And I'm not down for this. However, in order to know what is in store for the tender lovers, the stone must be placed in their mouths while the moon is full. I don't know. I'd rather just ask a psychic or an Akashic reader.
I mean, I'll try it as long as it's not something weird like put it up your butt or something. I'll put
especially after.
I'm fine.
Don't put it in your mouth after you put it up your butt. That'll
be a no for me.
All right. So I have like so many more. We won't be able to get through them all, or else this will be like a 2-hour podcast. So I'm going to let you choose. So here are your choices: ruby, opal, emerald, diamond, aquamarine, or
I
garnet.
have to choose opal because that's my birthstone, and I want to know.
Opal. Yay. Okay. All right. Opal. The name refers to Ops, a wife of Saturn and a goddess of fertility in Greek mythology. In the Middle Ages, opal was used as an amulet for good fortune because it was believed to contain the virtues of all the other gems. In more recent times, opal has been used as a generator of creativity and inspiration. I don't work with opal because it's so soft and like it'll crack in your hand and you're screwed. So I'm like, I'm not going to push it. Opal dates back to the Cretaceous period, so it goes back a long way. I mean, all crystals do, but this one specifically dates back to the Cretaceous period when dinosaurs roamed the earth. It was formed as silica from decomposing rocks mixed with groundwater that collected and then petrified in underground cavities.
Wow.
In ancient times, opal has been regarded as the luckiest and most magical of all of the gems because of its ability to showcase a multitude of colors. Like beautiful, really high quality, like AAA grade opal. It's like you've seen it. You're looking at a kaleidoscope.
It's incredible.
The Greeks believed the stone held the powers of foresight and prophecy. The Arabs of Muhammad's time, again, political correctness, I don't know. They were convinced opals were carried to earth on bolts of lightning. One myth tells of a storm god throwing a bolt of lightning at the rainbow that ended his storm, and the subsequent explosion of colors that fell to the earth embedded themselves in the rocks, creating the opal.
Wow.
In the 1300s, opal was the most popular gem used for jewelry in Europe. But when the Black Plague struck, so did the slandering of the opal's good name. Everybody's on the edge of their seat now, aren't they? People believed that a recently inflicted person's opal would flare up and then totally lose its color upon their death. Louis the 14th? I don't know, it's XIV. And normally in my notes I'll make a note, but I didn't this time. So it's Louis XIV of France. Named each of his horse-drawn coaches after the gems, after opals. Well, after gemstones, all right? So one of the horses named Opal, Opal's driver was often known to drive drunk.
What?
And he would get into accidents.
Oh,
no. And so it was believed that the unlucky coach, it was an unlucky coach to travel in, and then they blamed the poor horse,
Bullshit.
Opal. Right? I said they were going to slander Opal's good name. Okay. But then the final nail in the coffin came in the 19th century when Sir Walter Scott's novel Anne of Geierstein blamed an opal as the sole reason for his anguish. All right, so although the bad luck incidents are later explained in that book, opal's reputation persisted as being unlucky. I've never known an opal to be
I've heard
unlucky.
that if it's not your birthstone and you wear it, that it can bring you bad luck.
That's because of the horse.
That's
because
bullshit.
of the drunk driver.
Bullshit stories, and then they,
I know, right?
and then they
Bullshit
cling,
stories.
and then people believe. Yeah, that's where a lot of superstitions come from.
Yeah, slander. This is slander. So we're clearing up the slander of the opal's name. So it's all bullshit. It's superstition. You can clearly see that the reasons used for giving opal a bad name are bullshit. And so I say, everybody wear their opals.
If you like it, but just be careful because they will pop out of their settings.
if they're made by
I've had a few rings. They're soft because they are so soft. And I had like a ring once, and I remember I like smacked it against something, and then it cracked in half. And then it was still fine, like it was sitting in the setting for a while, and then eventually it just got really loose, and then it popped out. But yeah, that's
Was it a prong set?
That's why, and it was only two. It was a 2-prong, and it was what's the like elongated oval shape? But it's like pointy at the ends, kind of. I don't know what that shape. Kind of like that shape. and it was just the two prongs at the top, one at the top and one at the bottom. So there wasn't really much holding it in place. So
listen, as a jewelry designer, I'm trying to seriously think of how two prongs could hold a marquee in place. And
I still have the ring.
So,
I'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah, send me a snap of that, because I'm like, wait, what? How do you? Because a marquee, I would use 4.
I think it was 2. Maybe it could have been 4. I don't know. But I bought these Cantera opals in Mexico. They're basically like opals that have stone around them. Like it's like almost like they're encasing. It looks like their encasing is on them. Yeah, they're really beautiful. I got this necklace in Mexico that was made from those, and they're really neat.
Yeah, and they also provide a stabilizing factor for the stones.
Exactly.
So they're not as delicate. Yeah. That's turquoise a lot of times is sold with like something glued to the back of it, which doesn't make it fake. It stabilizes the turquoise because it's so soft. And so easily, can easily crack or break or whatever. So. Okay, let's do ruby next in honor of your puppy.
She's sitting back there.
Okay. Ruby. I know, I see her right behind you. Ruby, a stone of love and courage. Ruby is also known as an aphrodisiac. Right? Boom, chicka, wow, wow. The name of the mineral comes from the Latin ruber, meaning simply red. In some Asian cultures, rubies were used to decorate armor, the sheaths of swords, and they were sometimes placed in the foundations of buildings to ensure prosperity. I thought that was cool. Be a cool way to put that in if you're building a house or something. It has been said that the ruby's red glow comes from an internal flame that cannot be extinguished, making a gift of the stone symbolic of everlasting love. If it's worn on the left hand, ancient lore tells us ruby will bring good fortune to its wearer. And it's said to be the most precious of the 12 stones that God created when he created all things. So this Lord of the Gems was placed on Aaron's neck by God's command. I don't know who Aaron is. I left it in. Who's Aaron? Do you know? Yeah, we need the Bible. We need the Bible.
Oh, from the Bible? I don't know what he did. I don't know. No.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Ancient tribes used the gem as bullets for blowguns, and it's said that a pot of water would boil instantly if a ruby was tossed into it. Ground to powder and placed on the tongue, this crystal was used as a cure for indigestion. Let me see. Among the multitude of legends and strange beliefs of ancient times, it was thought that the wearer of a ruby was blessed with health, wealth, wisdom, and outstanding success. I like that one. And then furthermore, the wearer acquired the ability to live in absolute peace with his enemies. And then in some places, ruby was even thought to grant invulnerability, which is why soldiers would wear it. Today, in modern times, rubies are even more valuable and rare than the top quality diamonds.
I didn't know that either.
And I didn't know that.
But I guess you do see a lot less of them.
Yeah. No. Yep. Yeah. And red stones are my favorite. My birthstone is garnet, and I love red stones. All right, let's do one more. Let's see. So here, I'll let you pick. We can do sapphire, emerald, diamond, aquamarine, or garnet.
Sapphire.
Sapphire. Okay, sapphire. A stone of intuition and communication with the spiritual world, sapphire's rarity and deep blue coloring make it one of the most valuable stones in the world. Sapphire was named after the Greek word sapphirus, meaning blue. Very, very tricky. Ancient civilizations believed that the world was set upon an enormous sapphire which painted the sky blue with its reflection. In ancient times, sapphires were thought to be protective against envy and poisoning. When you ground them to a powder, the blue stone was believed to cure colic, rheumatism, mental illness, and to strengthen eyesight. Well, that's a lot of
out of a little rock
expectations out of a little blue powder. I know, right? Sapphire has long symbolized truth, sincerity, and faithfulness In one story, Moses was given the Ten Commandments on tablets of sapphire, making it an extremely sacred gemstone. I've never heard that. Have you ever heard that?
No, I've never heard that.
Because sapphires represent divinity, they were the gemstones of choice for kings and high priests. The British crown jewels are full of large blue sapphires, and even more recently, Prince Charles chose a sapphire engagement ring for Princess Diana. It's my favorite royal in the entire world. Well, I like Harry and, what's Harry's wife? Meghan. I love Harry and Meghan too. The ancients regarded star sapphires as a very powerful talisman, a guiding star for travelers and seekers of all kinds. So a lot of gemstones, like if you hold them in just the right, or you just move them in your hand, some of them will reflect back to you that star. And apparently sapphires are one of the stones that will do that. Amethysts do that a lot. I know there's star amethyst, there's star, I forget what the other one is. Well, star sapphire is another one. But yeah, it's really cool. So if you have any of those, just kind of move them around. And if you see a star in it, then you're like, oh. And that's actually, it's not super, super rare. But if it's a legit stone and you have a star, it's a little bit more valuable than a regular one.
Oh, that's very neat.
Okay, so there's tons more, and I will throw some more when I do the artwork for the promo for this episode. I'll throw a couple more and like an Instagram slide or something.
Okay.
Because there's so many, we would be here for a couple hours. So, but anyway, that's sort of some of the myths and the origins of some of our favorite stones.
I love that, especially because a lot of them are birthstones too. So we care about them in that capacity, or we've had some kind of relationship. Exactly. I'm not a huge fan of like gemstones. I prefer crystals, or like faceted crystals. But diamonds, rubies, sapphires, emeralds. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of working with them because they have to be prong set. Oh yeah.
Or they should be prong set, and I'm just not a fan of that. My style is more rustic boho, sort of, handmade, that sort of thing. Yeah. And these stones really are better suited for high-end settings.
Sure.
So, but they're still pretty.
No, yeah, they are. They're very beautiful. I think I sent you, I showed you that picture of those blue sapphire earrings that I got? No, I didn't get them. I tried them on. Yes. They were so beautiful. But
yes. You wanted them. Weren't they like super, super expensive?
Oh, they were. Like, I think it was like, they were like $800 for like a pair of earrings. And I was like, I can't justify that amount for how much I wear earrings. I don't even wear them that much.
Right.
No, it's okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. I always love hearing about all the different stones and crystals, and anytime I can learn anything new.
You're welcome. It was a fun one to research. Look for. Yeah. Do you have anything for the closing vibe?
I do. I just wanted to talk about the new moon that's coming up.
Yes. I love the moon.
Yes. So this new moon goes at its full power is July 28th at 1:54 EST. But remember, we can utilize the energy of the moon 3 days before and 3 days after. So, okay. So, when we talk about astrology and we talk about trines and squares and conjunctions, right? And I'm
and I don't have any idea what any of those things mean.
And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck any of those mean. Okay. All right. So, a conjunction. Okay, so if they're 60 degrees apart, because they're on a wheel, right? It's a wheel. Yep. It's 360. Okay, so if they're 60 degrees apart, it's a sextile. If they're 90 degrees apart, they're gonna form a square, right? 90-degree angles. That makes a square. And then if they're 120 degrees apart, they form a triangle.
Oh, very excellent explanation. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Because I was like, I'm sick of hearing about trines and squares, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. So, okay. So that's what that means. So with this new moon, it trines Jupiter, which means it's going to have a mild influence. But what it does help with is it's going to bring in like high spirits and enthusiasm. It's going to give you that boost of self-confidence and good fortune, which is perfect because new moons typically represent the end of a cycle and the beginning of another. So if there's anything that you need at the beginning of a cycle, it's that boost of confidence to know that things are going in the right direction because you've trusted the universe in the choices that you've made. Yeah.
Excellent.
So this is a good time to look into opportunities for both personal, spiritual, material growth. All these are, the energy is really set up to bring in that growth in those areas. Also, Mercury so there's a Mercury is squaring Uranus, and so that's going to actually be the main influence of this moon. So expect unexpected news and some unexpected interactions as a possibility. Some people may be a little nervous, erratic, unpredictable. I would think it as more of a societal thing, but for yourself, try to stay more open-minded and especially adaptable to any situations.
Excellent.
The main energy of this moon, though, is going to be regarding our work life and our work-life balance, and really understanding what works for us and what doesn't, and limiting the things that bring us stress and trying to promote more and grow more of the things that bring us joy. And as far as
I love that.
The signs that will probably feel it the most are Capricorn, Cancer, and Gemini.
Now, why? Tell me why.
Because of the placements of where they're at and how direct this moon will affect them.
I will tell you, I'm a Cancer, or I'm sorry, not a Cancer, I'm a Capricorn. And this has been probably one of the most healing and insightful moons I've experienced in a very, very, very long time. So I can validate that. I just wondered why. Yeah. Why? What do you know? Teach me. Tell me.
It's also called the buck moon, but it's not for anything cool. It's just the fact that it lines up calendar-wise with the same time that bucks start to grow their horns back. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a hunter, that's cool and all.
Yeah.
But
otherwise, yeah.
Otherwise, like,
yeah.
Yay. Okay. I love that. I love the moon. And I'm excited because, this is such a big one. And all over the socials, people, all the people that I follow for astrology and stuff, they're all like, this is a big one. This is a really big one. And then, of course, in August, we're coming up on the Lion's Gate on August 8th. So there's just so much going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. You guys, thank you for joining us today. We are so happy to be back. You can find us on all the socials under Esoterics Podcast, and be sure to join our Facebook community, the Esoterics community. We're going to tell you firsthand about all the things going on, our services, events. I'm trying to put out more tips, and we were just recently talking about being more visible, sharing more of our practices and ourselves with you. So we're going to really try to do more of that.
Yep.
And a lot more.
Yes. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend. You can do that as easily as using the app, whatever you use to listen to your podcast, and using the share button, or you can copy and paste a link from our bio, our website, wherever. And we really appreciate you guys listening.
We do. Please help us get the word out. But yeah, we love sharing this podcast with you. Yes. Really appreciative of any listening, any downloading, any subscribing.
Thank you so much for inviting us into your life for a little while, lovely humans. Stay mystical, magical, and ready to do it again next episode. See you later.
Bye.